All right, so it sounds like we've heard from the board, we're gonna go ahead and move forth.
Bobby, when Larry has written one signature, could the town ask him that his letter say two signatures? Since it's our town.
The bank's changed policy, and what they're stating in the letter here is that if the account is reopened, that they're gonna only be, they're only gonna be, again, if a check comes through and it's missing one of the two signatures as the town has, they're not gonna look at that, they're only gonna require one signature.
Ms. Hubbard, when it leaves this town, it's still gonna have to have two on it, whether they want two on it or not, we're
Yeah.
gonna put two
Oh,
signatures
absolutely.
on the
Right,
check.
it doesn't change the town's
Doesn't
policy.
change our policy one bit. Both of us will have to, but, and if somebody wanted to be mischievous and signed it by themselves and it went through the bank, we're still gonna get that check back and see that there's been a mistake made. And I'll say one more time about these checks, this whole issue about these checks. It isn't the signatures you wanna look at, in my opinion. It's whether they are legitimate expenses that are owed by the town, that's not going to my kid's college fund or somebody else's brand-new car. If it's a bill that the town owes, that's the main question. Are they legitimate expenses? Not this, I don't personally care, well, I should care. I really don't care if they have no signatures on them. If we write a check out to pay a bill that we owe and it goes through the bank and it's done properly, I'm sad. Obviously we sign the checks, I'm being a little bit facetious, but the main issue is not the signatures. It's make sure that we're paying the bills that we're supposed to pay, and it's not, somebody's not getting money for some unauthorized reason, and that has never been an issue at this place.
Well, I don't question the honesty of the
Oh, we
folks
have
that
to,
we've
though.
got here, but it just seems to me, and if it's a state law that is the way it's supposed to be written, one signature, okay, but if it isn't a state law, I think that we have the right to ask Mr. Lyons to fix it the way that is our policy.
Well, and I think to that point, as a customer of the bank, if you're gonna stay with People's Bank, when you communicate with them about opening new accounts, you can say, this is what our charter requires, and we would ask the bank to honor, as a customer, as a large customer of the bank, we're asking you to try to follow our own procedures. What the bank is saying, though, is the bottom line is one signature will suffice. But they, as a customer of the bank, you can certainly ask them to do a little bit extra.
They shouldn't have any problem doing that.
But I think they're gonna reserve and say, yes, we'll do that, but one may get by. But they, as a customer, you should ask that of the bank.
I would think so.
I think what you just read, it said that they weren't requiring two signatures, but that doesn't mean that our town doesn't require two signatures.
No,
I mean,
it's
if you want to put 3 or 4 signatures on there, you can.
their town policy won't change
I
at
find
all.
it so odd, because there's so many
Never heard of
organizations
such a
that
thing.
require two signatures. I have a real hard time with the bank telling us, I mean, there are other banks. You tell other banks that you want two signatures, they're gonna agree with that. And I mean, I suspect we're a fairly large customer for People's Bank. So I really have some trouble with them saying they're not gonna.
But they have
No,
that
they said
right.
they said
They
they're
have
not
that right,
requiring
but
it.
we have a right to go to
That's what
another
they said.
bank that will in fact check for two signatures.
Bob, can you read that line again? I think it says they're not requiring it.
It says, for your protection, we believe this closing to be appropriate course of action and suggest you move quickly and take this action. In the event you elect to open a new account with the People's Bank, our policy regarding two signature accounts has changed. In accordance with current bank standards, we require only one signature by the maker on each check in the future upon reopening the account.
Right, they require one signature, but
But
you,
they're
the
still gonna
town, can
get two.
require two
That's what they
signatures.
do.
We're
You
still
can put
gonna
3 on
get
there
two
if you want.
signatures from us.
Under the
Some
current
corporations have to.
accounts, in theory, had we not had to close these accounts, they would have continued, these were two signature accounts.
Anita, it's gonna be that way, you're not getting us here. We're gonna make them do that. We got
Yeah,
you.
but you have to understand too, the bank may be reacting to some of the stuff swirling out there,
Oh,
that somehow
sure.
this was the bank's fault. Because some statements made were, did you hear that the bank let checks go through without, so the bank's sitting in a board meeting going, you know what? We don't even need one signature to be a bank. We don't have to promise people we're gonna look, because it's complicated how checks get presented to a bank, understand? And, so, I think the bank is probably itself saying, look, we wanna be clear to everybody, it's not our job.
But it sounds like we wanna make certain that the bank is going to take the position that they wanna have, it's gonna be two signature as is the town's policy.
Well, no, I don't think you're gonna change the bank's policy. I think you as a customer can say to the bank, we would really appreciate it if you would respect our internal policy and look out for checks with two
Right,
signatures.
right.
We would ask you to flag one if you see one. But from a banking perspective, that sentence you read, they're saying from a banking perspective, we need one signature for a valid.
And I think in that letter that we're signing, that the bank should admit that they're going to accept what I call, municipal check only if it has two signatures.
That's all set up when you do the account, Edna. You just tell them, you require two signatures, here are the acceptable signatures, and that's it. You don't ask the bank, you tell them,
Right,
they're your
you're a
checks.
customer.
Has anybody sit
We're a
down with the
customer.
bank?
That letter.
Has anybody sit
No, it
down and
just
talk to the
says
bank
they no
about
longer
this letter?
require two signatures.
This is our first sit
Doesn't
down as
say
a
that they
group,
won't
as a
accept
whole,
two
to
signatures.
discuss this.
You just receive it.
Well, we've had the letter, but again, this is the first time together that we've been together as a body to discuss just that right there, and it, I mean, again, before you say that we're gonna expect the bank to,
I would say so, yeah. If this is protocol, I want two signatures on that check when it goes to the bank. Why wouldn't they do it? We're a customer.
We're
And
gonna
a good one.
have, we're gonna have two signatures when it
Exactly.
leaves here. What they do with it after that's up to them.
Done deal.
They're just
Move
saying they
forward.
don't require it, they're not saying that they want, that
Right.
you can't set your
They're
own
just
policy.
saying that
Right,
they're
they're
only
saying that
gonna
they-
care
I
if
mean,
there's
some
one of
companies
the
have four
3
signatures.
people on
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
I think that their letter to us and the letter that the council people sign ought to say what we need. And if our charter says two signatures, they should show us the respect in order to have our accounts that their letter says two signatures.
But by that same token, Edna, if it's our policy to have two signatures, then it shouldn't leave here without two signatures.
Exactly.
We
It's
should
not.
police ourselves, and that's really the bottom line.
But
I'm
it
sure
has
that
happened in the
Chip's right.
Doesn't matter, I mean, nobody's cheating, it isn't that, it's just, what's on,
We'll certainly have a conversation about this
yeah,
when we change these.
And we're doing our best to make sure that there are all proper signatures in there before they leave. So,
you all do a good job.
But I keep saying, and I guess I'll continue to say, it's more important where that check, what that check's made out for, than it is the number of whose signatures is on it. If it's going for legitimate reasons, then it's a legitimate check.
I agree with all
Yeah.
that, but I like things in black and white in the new book.
Well, it's the invoice that tells you, for example, whether you're staying at a hotel for a conference from Friday night on or from Sunday night on. You can't tell from the check, you can only tell from the
No,
invoice.
we have two pieces of correspondence that goes with each check. So if anybody says they don't know what these checks are spent for, they can't read then, because we have an invoice and we have a requisite that's attached to each and every
Those are the
check,
things, you can't
explaining
tell
what
by
it's
looking
spent
at a
for.
number